Everyone. My name is Lisa Barnett. I'm on my husband's Zoom, and so Stephen is coming up as my name, but I'm Lisa. I first want to just thank everyone that worked on this bill. It's so important to me and to my whole family. And in particular, thank you for inviting me and taking the time to listen to my testimony. In particular, I'd like to thank Senator Rosemary Bayer, Natalia Emerson, Eric Wessler and his wife, his lovely wife. I understand Elle Holtz is also going to testify. I'm just grateful to anyone and everyone that would work on this bill. I was one of the people who was defrauded in the Heavenly Acres Pet Cemetery case. I had 3 pets buried there, 3 family pets. Fluffy, a golden retriever, Zoe, a Labrador mixed breed, and Kylie, also another golden retriever. All 3 of these pets were full-fledged, beloved members of our family. They were also members of our community, beloved members of our community. All 3 of the pets were at times featured in the Troy Times. Fluffy was featured frolicking with my daughter and her best friend and saying, "Life is wonderful living at Maryhill Acres." Kylie and Zoe were featured in the Troy Times at a dog swim. Every year here, they close down the community pool outside and dogs are invited to come in and swim. And it's a big event and the dogs love it and they're part of the community. So in our community, we value our pets. They're members of our family and we want to honor them when they pass away. When Fluffy passed away, I have 4 children. My oldest was 10, my youngest was 4. And that was when we got Fluffy. And Fluffy was 13 years old. For 13 years, that dog was part of our life every single day, never let us down, with a tail wag, love, comforting us. And when she died, that was really my children's their first taste of death, really, or experience with death. And so it was an important part of the grieving process that we honor our dog. And our vet told us that Heavenly Acres Pet Cemetery was a lovely place. And in fact, when I was thinking about my testimony, I just want to show you a picture so we know what we're talking about, what Heavenly Acres looked like then. This is just a picture when they were selling. Here's another picture. How beautiful it was. And we had a funeral. We bought a casket. The kids all gave their talks. We put Fluffy's favorite toys in the casket. We rode to the burial ground, a plot that we'd purchased. We said prayers. It was every bit the ceremonies that we do when we bury a family member. And it was very, very comforting for us. We had a marker, and it helped the children grieve. It helped me grieve. It was a wonderful place to go. And we felt that we had given back to Fluffy for all the years that Fluffy had given us. Later, we had 2 more dogs after Fluffy died, Kylie and Zoe. And they were wonderful pets too. And we did the same thing when they died. In fact, when Zoe died, we also purchased a pre-need because they were the same age and we wanted Kylie and Zoe to be buried close to each other. I found out about the fraud by getting a letter in the mail in July saying that this was my final opportunity to come exhume my pets. And that was the first I knew about it. No one had provided me notice. Apparently, there was a lawsuit that had been ongoing for some time, but this was my only notice. Even though we have lived in the same community, the same home for over 40 years, we never got notice that this lawsuit was happening. When I got this notice, I appeared, and all the parties had basically settled out, and I was the spoiler because I hadn't had notice. And so I was treated horribly. There was a settlement in place. They didn't want me to rock the boat. And at one point, they wouldn't let us on the grounds to go see our pets, to get our markers. We had markers marking their grave. When I finally got to go to the cemetery, remember the picture that you saw of how beautiful the cemetery was? This is what we found. We could not find our markers. We had to get a prod. There's my husband with a prod, and go walk around the cemetery and use the prod until we hit something solid, and then dig to find our markers. Here's some more pictures. That was our Zoe. Zoe's coffin was in the best shape, but many of the coffins that came out were in terrible shape. They were waterlogged. It was by a wetlands, and so water had seeped through the cracks, and there were bones, and the smell was horrible. This is somebody's, what they could get out of their coffin to rebury. Here's another picture. It was one of the most traumatic things that have ever happened. I was able to find a place that was deed restricted, and we reburied all of our pets at this lovely place that was deed restricted. And that was somewhat of a comfort for us, but I feel traumatized for the rest of my life about this. As you can see, my whole goal is not to cry during this hearing, but it was really traumatic. Imagine digging up a family member and the smell, having to use hazmat suits. You just didn't want to remember your pet like that. We remembered Fluffy, peaceful in the casket with her toys, her favorite toys. And so this was very horrible. So if you could enact this legislation to protect any other family from going through this horrible experience, I would be so grateful. I strongly support this. And again, I'm grateful for you taking your time to listen to this testimony.